Okay, so we've done many different headphone roundups and tier lists in the past, but we have a bit of a different format for you guys today. We figured we would answer the question, or try to answer the question, if you could only own one headphone, what headphone would that be? I brought with me Cameron and Griffin, and today we're going to find out what is the best audiophile open back headphone. We're going to crown a champion by the end of this video, so let's go. Okay, so the rules here are pretty straightforward and obvious. You can see here we've picked a whole bunch of different audiophile open back headphones. I haven't chosen all of them because that would take forever, but these are the ones that I think most folks are familiar with and know about. And the question that we're going to answer with each of these is, which one would we want to own? So this is not strictly sound quality, it's not strictly to do with comfort, it's not EQ potential, it's none of that stuff. It's just answering that one simple question of, between these two, when they go head to head, which one would we want to own? And there's three of us, so we'll each be weighing in on this, and the winner will move on. The loser will be discarded into the pit of shame. Without further ado, let's get going.
First up, we have the Abyss 1266 Phi TC versus the AKG K712 Pro. For me, this is actually quite a good one to start off with, because I'm going to be approaching this with a I can only own one headphone mindset, not a which headphone I would like to have as part of a collection. Which on this one changes things, because I actually really like the 1266, but if I'm only picking one headphone, I would have to go for the K712 just because it's a hell of a lot more normal sounding.
It's not a good headphone though. Like, this is the thing. I probably would also choose the K712 Pro, but that's for the nerdiest reasons of all time. That's the headphone that was used in the most robust Harman study, and so there's interesting things to do with, research that we have that headphone for. So yeah, I would probably also choose the K712 Pro, but it's not a great sounding headphone.
Yeah, for me, it would basically entirely be down to the fact that the K712 Pro is more comfortable than the 1266. Like, I might actually prefer the 1266's sound there, but as a only headphone, it's a pretty big kind of uncooperative ergonomic design, whereas K712 is a lot more normal.
All right, K712 it is. Next one is Odyssey Carbon against the Odyssey LCD5S.
I'm going to step back from this one because I've not heard the LCD5S. I really don't like the Carbon. Oh, no, this is Carbon 1, not Carbon 2. Carbon 1 is okay, actually. I don't mind Carbon 1.
Yeah, I would probably go for Carbon 1. It's a more comfortable, I think slightly lighter design, and I like the way it looks a little bit more too.
Yeah, I'm also going Carbon 1 because LCD5 chassis design doesn't fit on my head. So, like at all. Next is Odyssey LCD-X 2021 versus MM500. I
like both of these.
I'm going to go LCD-X 2021, personally, for comfort reasons.
I'm pretty torn. I'm going to step back from this one again just purely because I'd be kind of equally happy with either of them.
You can't step back. You have to make a decision, otherwise we can't move on.
All right, in that case, I'm going to vote MM500.
Oh, so I'm the tiebreaker?
Yeah, you're the tiebreaker.
So the thing is, I've actually owned both of these headphones for extended periods of time. I think if I had to choose one, it would actually be the LCD-X 2021. It is the heavier headphone, but I felt like when I had that headphone, I was in a mindset of, this sounds kind of weird, but I'm having fun with it. But it has to be my only headphone?
That's the problem. You can't have anything else.
Yeah, I think if it's my only headphone, it has to be the MM500.
Got it. Audio-Technica ATH ADX 7000 against the R50X.
ADX 7000 every day.
I'm going to go ADX 7000 as well.
I'm also going to go ADX 7000. R70X now, also from Audio-Technica, against the Aun AR5000. And now this is not the R70XA. I figured I'd go with R70X because the ergonomics are acceptable on the R70X, not so much on the A.
Yeah, even if they're acceptable, though, I think the AR5000 is probably meaningfully more ergonomic, and they're probably not that different, or one isn't much better than the other in terms of stock sound quality. So I think I'd go AR5000.
AR5000, I mean, the last time I heard it, it was only with binaural tracks that they had at Munich, but I did like it. It was comfy, so I'm happy to back that one up. I'm not a fan of the R70X, so I'll go AR5000 as well.
I also will go our AR5000. Next we have the Austrian Audio Composer against the Beyerdynamic DT900 Pro X.
Do we need to discuss this one?
Yeah. That's kind of an easy win for Composer, I think.
It's not the 990, it's the 900 Pro X, right? Which is the more reasonable of all of them.
Yeah, to some degree. For me, this is not even a competition, really. I'm going to go Austrian Audio Composer.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, me too. All right, now we got the DT990 against the DT1990 Pro.
I think DT1990 probably for me.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah.
Dan Clark Audio Expanse against the Dan Clark Audio Noir X Open.
This one I'm curious about because I think across the three of us, one of the two works better depending on whose head it's on. For me, I think the Noir XO.
Yeah, for me, it's an obvious win for Noir XO.
For me, it would probably end up being Expanse just because the treble works a bit better for me. But guess I'm taking the L here.
FIO FT1 Pro against FIO FT7. Not sure everybody's heard the FT7.
Yeah, I haven't heard FT7.
I only heard the prototype one, which I think the final thing was a little different. So
No, the one you heard in Munich was the final thing.
pretty representative. Okay, in that case, I'd probably go FT7.
FT7 has the suspension strap, right?
Yes.
Yeah, then I'd probably go FT7 too, realistically. Because I don't love the sound of FT1 Pro or anything like that, so...
I would also go FT7 because it doesn't have the excursion limit issue that the FT1 Pro has. Focal Clear against Focal Alex, speaking of excursion limits.
Speaking of excursion limits. Alex is my favorite thing that they make besides the Utopia, so Alex for me.
For me, it would also be Alex. They are more similar than different, of course, but the Alex will show dirt less and skin oils less. So I think it's just a better headphone to own, probably.
Alex is the winner.
Dennis versus Utopia OG.
I thought this would be, like, Utopia OG would be a more interesting thing to add in this than the 2022.
This is one where actually I'm leaning towards the opposite of what I was thinking with the Abyss stuff, because I think her Dennis is a more normal headphone than the Utopia OG, but Utopia OG is still normal enough, but exciting in all the right ways that I think I would lean towards that as my only headphone.
Yeah, I think Utopia is just kind of a strong candidate for an only headphone. The Adenis's comfort is pretty poor. That headband is pretty rough.
I actually completely disagree with that. I think the Hedenis is significantly more comfortable than the Utopia because the Utopia is heavy, and the Hedenis, I can wear it, all day, no problem.
Yeah, you don't really have much of an issue with many headband designs that I would say are bad.
Yeah. But I would still choose Utopia OG, so Utopia OG is the winner here.
Ooh, this is some stiff competition next.
Grados. It's the same headphone, right? Like, no, they are different. They are subtly different.
But I can't hear it through all the hearing loss induced by the god-unly treble peaks.
So this is the Grado SR325X against the SR60X.
Bigger number better, 325X.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll go with that.
I do also think the 325X is a little bit less trebly. Grell Audio OAE1 against the Headphone Head-to-Phone 2 GT.
I'd take Headphone 2 GT over either of them.
Yeah.
The OAE2 is better than the OAE1, but it's still just not quite right for me. Headphone 2 GT.
Headphone 2 GT for me as well. Headphone D1 against Hi-Fi Man Aria Organic.
D1.
I like me some Hi-Fi Mans, but the Aria Organic is just too bright. It's just too much at either end. Go D1.
D1 it is. Hi-Fi Man Aria Stealth against Hi-Fi Man Edition XS.
Aria Stealth. I have a soft spot for that headphone. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I kind of just got to go with Edition XS because it's not as painful for me.
I'm going to go Aria Stealth. The headband design and the whole, like the way that the arms and yokes move on the Aria Stealth is just better. So Aria Stealth. Hi-Fi Man Edition XV against the HE1000 Unveiled.
I think we might upset some people here. Edition XV.
Yeah, it's going to be Edition XV for me too.
It's HE1000 Unveiled for me, but 2 against 1, so Edition XV takes it.
HE1000 Unveiled is way more comfy, but I just prefer the sound of the XV, straight up.
Hi-Fi Man HE600 against Hi-Fi Man Susvara. That's OG Susvara, not Unveiled.
Susvara.
Definitely Susvara.
Yeah, me too.
Hi-Fi Man Susvara, 100%.
Koss Porta Pro against Meze 105 AER. Now that's a weird comparison.
Koss Porta Pro, you can wear on the bus, you can take them out more places. As an only headphone, there are genuine reasons to consider it.
It also just sounds better.
No, I prefer the 105 for sound over the Porta Pro.
Don't like either of these headphones. Both of these are pretty rough for me. But I personally go Meze 105. But where are you guys saying Koss Porta Pro?
I'm going 105.
I'll stand on business on Porta Pro being better.
All right, so we're going Meze 105 AER. Now we're on Meze 109 Pro against the Meze Elite.
It's going to be Meze Elite for me. That thing has a nice thickness and roundness in the mid-range that 109 Pro's treble kind of gets in the way of.
I was a little less of a fan of the original Empyrean. It was a little bit too warm for me, but the Elite, they just touched it up a bit. Did a nice job. Although I like both of these headphones, but yeah, Meze Elite.
It's a unique one, but I also go with Meze Elite here. Meze Empyrean 2 against Meze Poet.
I don't like Poet.
Yeah, I would take Poet, actually.
You're going Poet, and Cameron and I are going Meze Empyrean 2?
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Okay, so Empyrean 2 takes the win. Modhouse Tungsten dual-sided against Moondrop Cosmo.
It's going to be Cosmo for me.
Okay, this is a little bit of a tough one. I would definitely say Modhouse Tungsten for sound quality, but oh my god, it's such a pain to drive. Like, the fact that you actually really have to consider source gear quite a bit is a bit of a pain. I'm still going to say Modhouse Tungsten. If you're getting that headphone, then you'll probably put the effort in for a decent amp.
This is so tough for me because I would have the same consideration. If we're saying stock sound, no alternative pads, I'm going Modhouse Tungsten. But if I can pad swap, which is part of using the Tungsten too, right? I'd probably go Cosmo. So that's a really tough one. As an only headphone.
Oh, I'd definitely go Tungsten for sound. They're comfy as well. I do really like the Tungsten's comfort.
Yeah, that's true. And the Cosmo is huge. Okay, I'm going Tungsten. Dual-sided. So Tungsten wins. Moondrop Para 2 against the Philips Fidelio X2HR.
I haven't heard Para 2.
Neither have I.
I think Fidelio X2HR is extremely sibilant and grainy sounding, so it's likely that I would prefer Para 2.
Para 2 is also quite bright. Like, it's the treble is a problem. But yeah, I'd probably also go Para 2. Philips SHP 9500 against RAL Imanis.
Yeah, gotta take the Imanis there. I mean, again, just because the SHP 9500 is so grainy and annoying in multiple spots of the treble, whereas Imanis basically just has that one peak for me, it's going to be Imanis.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that as well. Same reasoning. The treble on the Philips is just way too weird, whereas the Imanis, it's mostly normal. It's just that big-ass peak and, well, huge soundstage dip, but...
The peak on the Imanis obliterates me, and I actually go SHP 9500 over the Imanis. Not even close. Yeah.
Oh, we got 2 for 1 on the Imanis, but...
But yeah, we're going with the Imanis because, yeah, 2 against 1. All right, Sennheiser HD 490 Pro against the HD 550.
I'm going to take HD 550 for that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go HD 550 as well.
That's a tough one because, again, 490 Pro, you get 2 sets of pads. It's more ergonomic. It's a better chassis design. But yes, I also agree that 550 does sound better. So I'm going 550. HD 560S against HD 600.
560S just straight up doesn't work for me, so HD 600.
Yeah, for me it's going to be HD 600 just kind of easily. Like Cameron, 560S just doesn't work for me.
Yep, it's a bit hot in that lower treble region, so for me, HD 600 as well. HD 650 against HD 660S2.
650 for sure.
I'm actually a little bit more torn on this. I do actually really quite like the 660S2. That one just does work quite well on my head, but I'm going to go 650.
650 for me as well, for sure. Sennheiser HD 800S.
Versus HE1. If you can only have one, I guess I'll slum it out with an HE1 then.
Yeah, I would probably go HE1 too. Yeah, I find HE1 more comfortable, so I'd probably end up going for that one.
And this is also assuming that it comes with the Energizer, so that's the whole kit, right? It's not just the headphone. Sony MDR MV1 against the Stax SR007 Mark II.
MV1 for me, definitely. Probably no surprise.
The 007 Mark II is one of the few stacks that I actually really do quite like, but I'm still going to go with MDR MV1. Actually, no, I'm gonna change. I'm actually going 007 Mark II.
I go Stax SR007 Mark II for this. I like the MV1 a lot, but like there's something super special about that particular model of Stax.
It's one of the few ones that just doesn't sound overly thin to me. It's actually got some heft behind it.
Next is the SR009S against the Stax L700 Mark II.
I've not heard either of these.
L700 Mark II all day for me. 009S was just way too shrill sounding.
I agree. A Stax SRX9000 against the ZMF Atrium.
Oh, this one's so tough for me, actually.
These are fun comparisons. I hadn't thought about this when I started this idea.
Yeah, this is a really fun comparison because the X9000 is the better headphone. It is more detailed and I like a lot of things about it more. But I love the Atrium so much because of how good it is for just listening to whilst working. I like the fact that it's not a super detailed headphone. It's just comfy, cozy, and good for background listening and not distracting. It's the headphone I use most still before that reason.
But if you could only have one headphone...
Then I'm going to have to go X9000. I am sad that the Atrium has not made it past the first bracket. I think it's been unfairly hit there.
I also go X9000. I do not like the sound of the Atrium unless there's a pad combination that I just haven't been able to figure out.
It's not the pads, it's the mesh thing.
Well, maybe that's it. Yeah, there's a 5 kilohertz thing that is just it really rough for me.
Yeah, I would definitely go X9000 as well as an only headphone. Atrium's just too heavy for me. I think X9000's treble also just works a little bit better for me. So
now we're onto the ZMF Auteur versus the ZMF Bokeh Open. I have a clear preference for the ZMF Auteur. I think that's not even close.
I do definitely have a preference for the Auteur versus the Bokeh Open. Versus Bokeh Closed, actually, I'd probably lean more towards the Bokeh Closed. But if we're talking open, then it's the Auteur all day.
I haven't heard the Bokeh Open, so I guess I'll just go with whatever you guys say.
Auteur it is. ZMF Caldera against the ZMF Verite Open. I go Caldera here.
I also go Caldera.
I'd also go Caldera for the sake of a single headphone. I do really like the Verite though. It's a more fun tuning, but for an only headphone, Caldera.
All right, so that's round 1 done. Now it's time for round 2. Back at the top, we got the AKG K712 Pro against the Odyssey Carbon 1.
Carbon.
I would take Carbon there, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
You're going to have to get an Energizer, but worth it. Definitely a better headphone than the K712.
Odyssey MM500 against the Audio-Technica ATH ADX 7000s.
I would take MM500 just because my ears don't touch the baffle when I'm wearing the headphone.
The treble on the MM500 just works a bit better than the ADX 7000 for me, so I'm going MM500 as well.
I go ADX 7000 because I can actually wear it, but the MM500 sound is better. So I'm going to go MM. Yeah, I'll concede the point. Aun AR5000 against the Austrian Audio Composer.
I haven't even heard AR5000, but I think I would take it over the Composer.
Because you don't like the Composer?
I'm definitely going to go Composer. I really do like the Composer, especially with the suede pads. That one just works really well for me, and it's super comfy, easy to drive, looks good.
I also go Composer. No comparison. Beyerdynamic DT1990 Pro against the Dan Clark Audio Noir X Open.
This isn't a fight for me. Noir XO.
Yeah, I'd probably go Noir XO as well.
I would also go Noir XO. FIO FT7 against Focal Alex.
Still gonna be Alex for me. The Alex is really good fun.
Yeah, I haven't heard FT7 again, but there's very little chance I prefer it to the Focal Alex.
I like the sound of the FT7, man.
I like it too. The Alex just makes me smile more.
Yeah, Alex is yeah. I'm gonna go Alex as well. It's funny because like that's like only round 2, and that's like one of the most competitive comparisons, right? FT7 and Focal Alex. For the people who've heard both, like they're both good sounding headphones.
Tell us in the comments why we're wrong.
Focal Utopia OG against the Grado SR325X.
Does this even need to be discussed?
My mum told me if I have nothing polite to say nothing at all.
Utopia OG.
All right, Headphone 2 GT against the Headphone D1.
Gotta go D1 on this one.
Yeah.
Yep, me too. D1 it is. Hi-Fi Man Aria Stealth against the Hi-Fi Man Edition XV.
XV stomps.
I think that there's not really a right answer here. For me, I'd go Aria Stealth. I think for a lot of people, it would be the Edition XV. I'm going to say Aria Stealth for my personal preferences.
So I'm the tiebreaker here. I'm tempted to, like, only headphone? I'm tempted to say Aria Stealth because the headband, again, works better for me. And everything about that design, like the ergonomics is just better. Even though the sound, is kind of aggressive in the treble, right? So I'd probably go Aria Stealth.
Aria Stealth it is. Hypherman Sesvara versus Meze 105 AER. Sesvara all day for me.
Sesvara for sure.
Yeah. All right, Sesvara. Meze Elite against the Meze Empyrean 2.
This one's a little tricky again. I'm going to go Empyrean 2.
I would go Elite for sure.
I'm going to go Empyrean 2. Modhouse Tungsten against the Moondrop Para 2.
I still have some reservations about the driving stuff of Tungsten, but just from sound and comfort, Tungsten.
Yeah, again, I haven't heard Para 2, but I think I would probably go Tungsten.
Yeah, you definitely would. Ral Imanis against the Sennheiser HD 550. These are comparisons you'd never ordinarily think about, but you should, right?
And we are really going to annoy some people, because I'm going to say HD 550.
Yeah, same.
Me too. That's not that close.
There we go.
The HD 600 against the HD 650. A classic comparison that everybody has at some point in their audiophile journey thought about.
Yeah, and because you two are bright boys, HD 600 is going to win.
I don't know. Cameron didn't like the HD 600 as much as...
Yeah, but he likes the 650 less.
My issues with are the same on both. I would go HD 600 slightly, but it's not much in it.
Yep. That is the correct opinion. HD600 is the better headphone, so that's the one that wins.
HE1 versus 007 Mark II.
I haven't heard 007 Mark II.
Oh, okay.
Even if I had, I think I would probably go HE1 just for the comfort.
HE1 all day, every day.
Yeah, HE1 all day, every day.
Stax SR L700 Mark II against the Stax SR X9000.
Definitely X9000 for me. X9000's just got much better low-end stuff going on, and the comfort's better. And actually, the tuning just overall works better for me.
It's better. Yeah, it's not even close.
I haven't heard SR, what is it, L700 Mark II? Yeah, haven't heard it, so.
Pretty similar to L300 if you've heard that.
I have, and I would choose X9000 over it, so.
ZMF Auteur against the ZMF Caldera. For me, this is Caldera every day.
Same.
Yep,
Yeah.
same.
All right, on to round 3. Odyssey Carbon against the Odyssey MM500.
Versus Carbon 1, I think I'm still going MM500.
Yeah, I probably am too.
I'm going Carbon because, again, MM500 doesn't fit me, but MM500 is the better sounding headphone. It's the winner. Austrian Audio Composer against the Dan Clark Audio Noir X Open.
I would probably go Noir X Open, actually.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going Composer. Definitely works better for me, yeah.
I actually really did like the treble on the Noir X Open. Like, I actually think I prefer the treble on the Noir X Open to the Composer. The only issue is the Noir X Open has this feature in the ear gain at like, I feel like it's like 2.5 to 2.7 kilohertz that's like really forward for me. And it kind of messes with vocals a little bit. But I also like the bass better on the Noir X Open, so it's a tough choice. I think I go Composer though here, mainly because the comfort is better.
It's definitely more
And it's
comfy
just the
headphone.
way it, yeah, and the way it fits and everything. So yeah, Composer takes the win there. Focal Alex against the Utopia OG. This might be controversial.
This is a good comparison. This is going to be controversial. I'm going to go Alex here. I think that for an only headphone, I would pick Alex. If I already have other normal headphones, I would go Utopia OG because it is a bit more fun and more impressive in certain ways. But as my only headphone, I think Alex just takes the cake ever so slightly.
Yeah, same for me. I think the Alex has a slightly more thumpy bass response. Its treble works a little bit better for me, if memory serves. And it fits like a little bit better. Not necessarily that the ergonomic design is super different, but the Utopia is a little bit unnecessarily heavy, whereas the Alex is just a little bit lighter. So
I can get behind that reasoning as well. As much as I prefer the sound of the Utopia OG, the fact that the Alexa is a bit lighter is enough to push me over the edge for the Alexa as well. Headphone D1 against the Hi-Fi Aria Stealth.
D1 stomps.
This is one where are we able to EQ them just slightly, or is just stock sound out of the box?
I mean, like, this is the question is just which one would you rather own?
Because I do need to EQ down the 3 kilohertz on the D1. Without doing that, I would 100% pick Aria Stealth. If I'm able to just that one bit, just take that down a bit, then it's D1.
Yeah, D1 easy.
Me as well. D1 as well. Even like as an EQ platform, I think D1 would be better too, just because it's less modal.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm saying like I quite like the sound of the Aria Stealth out of the box. D1, I have to EQ it or else it's painful. So
Hi-Fi Susvara versus Meze Empyrean 2.
Susvara easy.
I do like both of these, but Susvara easy for sound.
Me as well. Susvara. Modhouse Tungsten dual-sided against the HD 550.
HD 550 for me. It's just a more normal sounding and honestly for me comfortable headphone.
Tungsten dual-sided easy for me. Just much better sounding than the 550 in my opinion.
I probably also go Tungsten. 550 is more normal sounding. It is more comfortable, but the Tungsten, especially if you take the grills off, it reduces that resonance in the mid treble wherever that is that I had an issue with, and I do like that sound signature. So Tungsten for me.
Okay, now we could really annoy some people with this one. HD 600 versus HE1.
Yeah, obviously this is HD 600, right? Like, is there even a question? No, I'm just kidding. I actually go HE1 here.
Yeah, I go HE1.
I've heard certain HD 600 units I probably would take over the HE1, but for ownership, the comfort is really important, so I would take HE1 here.
It is, yeah, the HE1 is an unreasonably comfy headphone. They did do a amazing job with that.
Stax SR X9000 versus ZMF Caldera. This is an interesting comparison.
This is an interesting comparison. I'm curious what you guys are going to say. I'm going to go Caldera here. Caldera with the suede pads on, but Caldera.
I also go Caldera.
I would probably go X9000 because I'm pretty sure it's lighter and more comfortable on my head, and it's more of a like open presentation, which yeah isn't really something I get from the Caldera.
It's funny, you could almost have these both further up, but I guess this is getting to near the final rounds here.
We are nearly there, yeah.
It's a tough comparison. I would go Caldera for this, based on... There's a bit of recency bias just because I've heard of Caldera more recently, but I have heard them both in reasonably close proximity to one another, and I do prefer the Caldera more. All right, round 4. Odyssey MM500 against the Austrian Audio Composer. And looking at the ones that we have here the final 4 here, stiff competition is starting to get there.
It is going to be interesting in the next couple of rounds, I think.
So MM500 against the Composer. Where do you guys land on this?
For me, definitely Composer. It's not a super big competition. Well, actually, no, I think the Composer's decently ahead. For me, comfort and sound, I think Composer wins.
Can we add capper straps?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can capper strap it, I would definitely take the MM500 over Composer. The real question here is the comfort difference between the two, and I need a capper strap on MM500 to find it close enough in comfort to Composer to get it ahead.
Does it not clamp enough for you?
It clamps fine. I mean, it's a spring steel band, so it can be adjusted. You can just kind of bend it however you want. The sound quality is much better than Composer is for me, but yeah.
For me, it's, again, comes down to comfort, and MM500 is just way too small and clampy, and I can't really wear it for much length of time. So Composer it is for me, yeah. Focal Alex against the Headphone D1.
This isn't as clear-cut as I think people might expect.
It's not an obvious one, no.
Again, if I'm EQing, I think I would go the D1, but if I'm just talking about out-of-the-box sound, I would pick Alex. But as an only headphone, if I'm allowed to just pull that 3 kilohertz down a bit, then I'm going D1.
Well, that's the other thing for me, is that D1 doesn't have the excursion limits that the Alex has at 170 dB at 1 kilohertz. So
yeah, I don't listen that loud though, so
no, but it's not even about that. Say you wanted to,
you want to add a bass shelf.
Yeah, bass shelf or something, run it out of a high output impedance tube amp or something. The D1 is going to be a lot more flexible there. I go D1 for this personally.
This one's very, very close for me. I actually think these two are like right next to each other on my ranking list. I forget which one is on top, but I think for me it would probably end up being the Focal Alex by a very, very slight margin. But I think Alex's bass presentation is more engaging for me, and I think the treble actually works a slight bit better as well for me. So even though the mids are more colored, I think Alex is going to get the win here.
I'm so torn. I'm tempted to change my vote. No, I'll stick with it. Stick with D1. I'll go with D1.
All right, D1 it is. Headphone Svara against the Modhouse Tungsten.
Ooh, that one is tough. I like both of these a lot. I mean, they're quite similar in many ways as well. I think for driving capable, which both of them are kind of hard to drive, but I think the fact that you don't need specific amps in order to drive it, I'm going to go Svara here. I do slightly prefer the sound of the Svara over the Tungsten as well, but it's so close. But yeah, I'm going to go Svara.
I don't love the sound of either of these headphones, but Svara is much more comfortable and like nice feeling to me, so I'll just go for Svara.
I am also definitely going to go Svara. I just like the sound better. Like it's more comfortable and I like the sound better. So Svara it is. Sennheiser HE1 against ZMF Caldera.
HE1, definitely.
You're going to HE1?
Yeah, for sure.
It's not super clear cut. I'm going HE1, but it's not like oh yeah, obviously. It's Caldera's good, man.
See, that's the thing is, for the sound quality, I actually think I like the Caldera's sound quality better than the HE1.
I do too. I just don't like the ZMF comfort profile.
Yeah, that's fair. So we're going HE1 here, all through, like you guys said HE1?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, now we're down to the final 4. I thought I said final 4 earlier, but that was final 8. Final 4. So we have the Austrian Audio Composer against the Headphone D1.
I think what's going to happen is I'm going to go Composer, Griff's going to go D1, and then you're going to be the tiebreaker. So let's see what happens. I'm going Composer.
Yeah, no, he's right.
Yeah, this is tough. Oh man, what's the rationale here for either one of these? Both are good EQ candidates. Both are comfortable. The Composer is more comfortable. The Composer is made of nicer feeling materials. The D1 has a I guess, a more balanced mid-range to treble sound overall, but the Composer has better bass extension.
For me, the biggest three things. One, Composer, just in terms of build and comfort, is definitely better than the D1 for me. Two is that the bass extension is just better, and I think for a lot of people that's going to matter quite a bit. And then thirdly, the treble overall and upper mids work better on the Composer than the D1 for me, especially out of the box. But they're both good EQ platforms, so for me, Composer wins.
I am tempted to give it to Composer, purely because of the comfort. Because I think for sound quality and EQ platform ability and just as a, overall, product, they are both great. And I'd say it's a wash there, but the Composer is more comfortable. So I go Composer. HiFiMan Susvara against the Sennheiser HE1.
I would probably go HE1.
I'm tempted to go Susvara here. No, I'm going to go HE1.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, I don't love the sound of either of these headphones. It's just HE1 is just that little bit more comfortable for me.
HE1 is more comfortable for me as well. Susvara, I do prefer the sound of over the HE1. Well, actually, no, not necessarily. I prefer the treble profile of the Susvara. I prefer the bass on the HE1.
That's kind of where I'm at too. I prefer the treble on the Susvara over the. Actually, you know what? For that reason, I'm going to change. I think that because they're both very comfy for me, and the fact that it's a lot easier to just add a bass shelf, I'm going to swap to Susvara.
So we got one for HE1, one for Susvara. Okay, if someone were to hand me one or the other, which would I choose? HE1. Just, and this is it's not even comfort because they're both comfortable. It's actually just because the materials on the HE1 feel so much nicer, and this is where we get into the luxuriousness aspect of it. Right, where it's the fact that you get the tubes that rise out of the thing and it's a statement piece and all that stuff, and even though the sound is arguably not better,
it's a piece of art.
The premiumness of it, all the things that we sort of laugh at, people for spending ridiculous amounts of money on do play a role, and it's pushed me over the edge to the HE1 here. And now we're in the grand finals, and both of these are headphones that Griffin doesn't like the sound of.
I mean, I don't think anyone should be surprised by that. It's like me kind of versus you two, because you guys have a lot of commonality in terms of taste.
Yeah, that's true. Big-headed boys. So, Austrian Audio Composer against the Sennheiser HE1.
I'm going HE1 here. All the ownership things you mentioned, but also just in terms of sound, I do prefer the HE1 over the Composer. But again, it's not like this is a crazy big difference. There isn't like a huge jump in performance here. But I do prefer the sound of the HE1 over the Composer. And it's so comfy. It's so unreasonably comfy.
For me, it's definitely going to be HE1. I just find the treble a little bit less annoying than Composer. They have similar issues in the mid-range and bass for me. So HE1 just because it's a little more comfortable.
And I go HE1 as well. It is more comfortable. This might seem like not a surprise to anybody that the HE1 wins this. But as we've said throughout this, it's not our favorite for sound quality. I don't think this is our favorite. I don't think this is anybody's favorite for sound quality. The HE1 wins here because it's the most comfortable. And when we're considering our only headphone, if this was just the headphone that we would choose, comfort is probably the biggest factor for those of us doing this right now.
I mean, I do like the sound of the HE1 a lot. It's a very good headphone for me. I think what's been most interesting about this is some of the discussion with some of the comparisons that we just wouldn't usually make. X9000 versus a Caldera. Or HE1 versus a Caldera. And some of these are not as clear-cut as people might assume.
And the thing I think is, people should make these kinds of comparisons. You often make comparisons for things that are around the same price, but I think you should consider, the full range of different products that you could potentially buy. I mean, it's obvious to compare headphones that cost $1,000, headphones that cost $500, right, with one another. But what if you compared a headphone that costs $7,000 or $5,000 to one that costs $250? Is it really as obvious? And I think in some of these instances, it's not as obvious when you consider, price not being a factor and just somebody handing you both and saying, pick one, and that's your only headphone. Okay, before we end this, I want to get each of your guys' takes on where the biggest injustices are with these.
I think for me, it's got to be the fact that the Atrium got knocked out in the first round. And, a little sad about that.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think there were any massive injustices here. I feel like the way most things were ranked was fair. If anything, I think the biggest injustice is actually Composer making it to the final round.
Yeah, in some ways it kind of had an easier... Well, no, it didn't have an easy run because it went up against good headphones. It went up against the MM500. It went up against the D1. It went up against great stuff.
It had a tough run. I mean, there was... HE1 went up against 007 and HD800S. I think I had a bit of an easier time there.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that it's because that question carries with it the baggage of comfort being such an important factor that, you know, when people are thinking about these headphones, they're primarily thinking about sound quality, when in reality that choice should probably include comfort a little bit more, or it should probably consider comfort more strongly, because if I think for a lot of these, like, comfort was the thing that pushed us over the top. Like, certainly for the HE1 to make it this far, it won over headphones that I thought, you know, were at least as good for sound quality, like the Caldera, but it won because of comfort. And I think the Composer, it's the same thing. So maybe that is the injustice, that the Composer is made it to the final round.
But also, maybe some headphone manufacturers should start making some comfier headphones.
There you go.
That would be nice.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know that I have any injustices here. Maybe the HD 490 Pro, that might have gotten further. Let us know down in the comments below what your injustices were. What are the biggest injustices from this, and which ones would you have scored differently or ranked differently? I think that's going to do it for this video.
That was fun. We should do more of these.
Let us know if you guys enjoyed this format. Yeah. Maybe we'll do, this was just for open backs. Let us know if you guys like this format, and we'll do another one for closed back headphones, maybe some IEMs, maybe some ANC headphones. These are always a lot of fun to do. And with that, that's going to do it for this video. As always, if you want to see our individual ranking lists for this, obviously we don't share the same preferences for all these headphones, and we rank things differently. If you want to see those ranking lists, those will be up on headphones.com. That'll be linked in the description. You can see our ranking lists aggregated for all three of us, but you can also see them on an individual basis. So if your preferences line up more with Griffin, you can check out his ranking lists, or if they line up more with Cameron, you can check out his. But other than that, if you want to connect with us, you can do so on our Discord, also linked in the description, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.